happened lately now with San Bernardino, with Paris, with what happened in Orlando, with political rhetoric that's being raised, is you're right. I can understand how the anger and the rage starts to increase for people, and they go, listen, I know you're all right. I know you're a good guy, but I don't know how your faith is being hijacked by these people and being polluted by these people, and how tough this must be. You hear the news in Orlando, the first thought is, oh my God, that's terrible. 20 people are dead. Then the number changes, and you go, oh my goodness. And my first thought, it's awful, Ryan. Like, my heart goes out to the victims and all their families. My first thought is, God, I hope he's not a Muslim. I hope it's not another Muslim. And then you go, oh no, wait, there it is again. And it makes it so much tougher for the Muslims who obviously have no links whatsoever to terrorism, who do not believe in this stuff. There's 1.6 billion Muslims in the world, and yet think of how many of them in an average week and an average day have no thought whatsoever of any sort of terrorist activity. There are Muslims who serve in the police force. There are those who fight defending this country. And yet, to your point, I get the fact, if I'm in the heartland and I don't know any Muslims and I see these attacks again, I just go, God, enough, just stop it. It's so demoralizing. You're so distraught after what happens.
I hate some of the things I think about, and I hate that, over the weekend, or at least on Sunday, it became a thing about, right for arms. And then you're like, okay, well, that's part of it. And then it becomes, well, this is a hate crime. And then there was a report that was like, is this an act of terror or is it a hate crime? And I'm like, does it matter?
Right.
And then you hear, okay, well, this guy was on a list, but how did they not do more? And then I have sympathy towards the guys. I have a couple friends that are in the FBI, and you're like, so what are you supposed to do? Just because this guy was a wild card, like follow him around for the rest of his life? Like that doesn't seem realistic to be able to pull that off. And then I start to think, like, you know what? Maybe this country can't operate the way it was founded. Like, I start to have some of these thoughts, and then I feel like, am I this horrible person for starting to think that way and thinking, like, I'll look at some of the immigration problems they have in Europe, and I go, well, that doesn't seem, the math on that doesn't work, with some other countries going, hey, we can't do this. We can't have thousands coming in every single day. And I think, okay, so why do we look at this so differently in this country? And then I actually think of you. I think of your family, your wife, your two boys, and I go, wait a minute, that doesn't seem fair to think that, okay, we just got to close this whole thing off to everybody because of something that happened yesterday. It's a really tough thing to talk about, and I don't know how people react to you saying it, but, like, again, I think about you and your family going, as soon as I'm like, well, wait a minute, does our country still work this way?
Yeah, I mean, think about the week that's been.
And look, he was born here too, so
right. He's not some radicalized guy from a different country who immigrated here. He's an American-born citizen who apparently wasn't all that religious, but then somehow along the way, his ex-wife said that he was, corralled by ISIS, recruited, but started reading literature and started to go in that direction. But again, to make that leap from where do you have this bigotry? Like, where do you have this hatred of his dad saying he just saw two guys kissing in Miami, and all of a sudden you want to take an assault rifle and kill 50 people? Like, it's insane. But think about the week. Last week, Jack Obringer, Mike McQuaid, a couple of our bosses on SportsCenter, said to me, hey, listen, with this Ali funeral, could you come on and explain a little bit of stuff? Like, we don't have familiarity with an Islamic funeral. We wouldn't know, open casket, closed casket, what's being said, etc. Like, Ali's a pretty religious guy, so you could help us with this. So last week I'm on with Kevin Nagani, the 9 a.m. SportsCenter on Thursday, explaining what the janazah is, explaining what you're going to see at Ali's funeral. And, like, there is a guy who was as prideful of his faith as anybody. Like, Ali was the emblem of Islam, like the proudest Muslim you'll meet, who wanted to follow his faith as best as you can. And in 1 week you see the greatness of people with someone like Ali, and then you see pure evil and pure tyranny and the way someone can hijack a faith, what this guy did. Like, it's unbelievable. Ali, there's a story he told. We've talked with Thomas Hauser, the fact he wrote that definitive biography about Ali. He said that Ali called Hauser on Christmas, wish him a Merry Christmas. And Hauser laughed. He goes, there's a Muslim calling a Jew on Christmas. Like, there's got to be a lesson in this. And Ali laughed, and he's like, hey, man, we're all trying to get to the same place. Like, whatever your faith is, if you do believe in God, you don't believe in God, like, just try to treat people well, have tolerance. Like, it's so devastating to me that it's so demoralizing the way people can take this and react in such a manner.
Now, like, here in where we live in our community, like, do you have, like, what's your setup here?
So we have a mosque here. It's like, again, like, our president at our mosque is like, what do we do? Like, do we make...
So you guys will talk about that. Like, yeah. What's it like this week when you go to mosque?
Yeah, it's like, okay, we have to make a public statement. So, like, we'll have the local TV stations, like, Fox Connecticut or NBC affiliate, come to the mosque, interview our president, explain that we disassociate ourselves from this type of activity. There's no place for terrorism in Islam. There's cameras there. Like, they're going to be recording my kids, like, praying and stuff. Like, my wife wears a hijab. Like, she identifies as a Muslim. So, like, when she goes shopping, when she does whatever, like, I don't know how much more of an increase of looks there are. People saying, oh, okay, well, she seems all right, or maybe she's one of those, or like it's tough, man. It really is. It's sad.
Yeah, I mean, because then I'd imagine if you ever picked up on it and somebody's looking at your wife and you're at the mall and you're getting Pinkberry with your kids,
right?
You know, and then somebody's like, hey, you know, like, I can't relate to that. I can't relate to that, and that's why.
Yeah, and that's